Well, hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, Instagram, wherever there's going to be this recording going and or the clips thereof. Welcome to the show. I am Monty Anderson with 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson. I am your host, yet again, Monty Anderson, if you didn't catch the first time. Which I know you probably did, and that's all good. Good and dandy, fine and fun. All right, so we're going to change the angle of this little guy, bring it down and out just a hair, so we can sit back, relax, and talk to you good, fine people out there. So, had a little technical difficulties this morning whenever I recorded my show. I got about 8 minutes in on the recording, and then all of a sudden, my audio cut out completely. So we're going to see if in 8 minutes the recording or the audio goes out again. So I don't understand what happened there. But today is Antarctic Press Day. I got the email from Mr. Dunn yesterday, the 14th, which was Friday the 14th. Not to be confused with Friday the 13th. But no, seriously, Mr. Dunn dropped it down to me. And what this is called, it is called the Influencer Initiative. And what that does, it helps drive viewership to my channels, which means viewership to my YouTube channels, which drives viewership to my Facebook channels, to my TikTok, so on and so forth. So that helps me out. It helps him out. Not that his company really needs helped out, because everybody pretty much knows who Antarctic Press is. If you don't, they've been around for 40 years, and they are a major manga anime type of comic book out there that does Ninja High School, crap, Tomorrow Girl, and then there's another one, Gold Digger, and then there's a slew of other titles that they have. But just on that end, we are now with this initiative program, we are able to take his creations and present them to you before they hit the comic book stores on Wednesday. New Comic Book Wednesday is whenever most of these do hit the stores shelves. And Antarctic Press is found throughout lots of comic book shops out there in the world. But again, this helps him by me promoting the book, giving you an honest take on the comic book itself, and then also giving you just a rundown of what's happening in each book that he drops to me in a preview. And it's not just me, there's other influencers out there that are also doing this as well. So this is not my typical show where we talk about your typical comic book stuff or movies, but this is comic book related. So, and this is new comic book related. So without further ado, I want to kind of just wait until that 8 minute mark just to see if we're going to get any interference from everything. So I'll tell a little bit of a story like I did before, um, whenever I started off Tomorrow Girl number 12, because she meets Megaton Man. Megaton Man is a character by Don Simpson, whom I met it was either 94 or 96 at the Dallas Comics Fantasy Fair. That's a tongue twister in and of itself. And that's when the autographs were free. The price of the admission basically got you to walk up to any artist or writer or inker or whatever and get their autograph on whatever you wanted. And that's where I met a lot of cool people back in the day, Don Simpson being one of them. His, on the flip side, one of the flip side covers was actually of his artwork, Megaton Man, at the time. Megaton Man has been around since the dawn of time. No, I'm just kidding. Megaton Man has been around just 1 year longer than Antarctic Press has been around. He was created by Don Simpson First appearance, Megaton Man, #1, 1984. And there you have it. And so, at that comic book show, I met a lot of cool people, like I said, and one of them being Mr. James O'Barr, whom I have over here, right, boop, right there, an original piece of artwork on my back wall, right there. Bum bum bum. And he and I have chit chatted since then, but whenever I first met him, it was at that show, and whenever I was walking around the show, just looking for artists to get signatures from, looking for comic books to buy and things of that nature, um, saw him sitting at his booth and just alone. No one was around him, no one was coming up to him, and I had his graphic novel, and I was like, well, hell, if nobody's going to be here, I'm going to walk up to him and have him sign my stuff. Well, I walk up there, put my book on the table, he picks it up, flips through it a little bit, we chit chat back and forth. He autographs it for me, and I'm walking away from the table after thanking him for the autograph and stuff like that. And this usher catches me and he's like, "So, can I see your ticket?" And I was like, "My what?" He was like, "I need to see your ticket. You had to have a ticket to get his autograph." And I was like, "Oh, I really didn't know that, because this was my first show and I had no clue how it all worked." And so I turn around, and because he kind of points in a direction, and I turn around and there's a whole big line of people that had irritated looks on their faces. And it was like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I really didn't realize. I apologize. And there was nothing they could do because I already got my autograph on my book. So he basically just let me go. And I was kind of laughing the rest of the trip on that one, because I honestly didn't know. I didn't realize that you had to go get a ticket for his line, because whenever I was walking by him, the aisleway was completely clear, and there was nobody milling around. I mean, there was people walking by and stuff like that, but I didn't realize that you had to get a ticket for his booth, for his autograph right there. So at some point in time, there was a little bit more of an incentive to get certain people's autographs, but like Jim Lee, there wasn't. It was a limit of 5 items for him, and let's see, so many other people. George Perez. I mean, I've got the whole book signed by pretty much every talent that was there at the time, except for certain people. But it was cool. That was a time. A lot of like I said, a lot of this stuff that's behind me that you see over my head and over my shoulder and stuff like that, those were all free. I didn't pay a dime for any of those. Now, there's certain ones up there that I did, like the James O'Barr I bought off of eBay, and then the Ken Hunts, which are those little ones, right? I'm pointing the wrong direction. Right here, right there. All 3 of those, as I go up and try to stay straight. Batman, Wolverine, and the Hulk. Those were bought, and then there's some other ones that were bought over there. But everything else that is directly behind my head to the Kate Beckinsale picture over here, right there, was all free pieces done at shows. I paid not a red cent for any of those. And I've got Joe Jusko, Morant Michaels, Stephen Hughes, Guy Gilchrist, Art Nichols, um, Jason Jensen, Dan Fraga. I mean, decent names out there, big names for some. I mean, Stephen Hughes would probably be a bigger name now, but if he hadn't died uh, way back when. And Art Nichols passed away not too long ago, apparently, fighting his own inner demons. So let's go with that for a minute. And if you are fighting inner demons, this is a part of my show, and I just need to put it up here on my page. And you know what? I think I'm going to do that right this second. Let's add a text box real fast. And this is going to be create new. This is going to be huge for a second, so just bear with me. I'm going to try and find a good font. I want a good font. I don't want a piece of junk font. I want something cool. Right. Yeah, that. There we go. Okay. So we're going to use that. I'm going to pull this down here in front of my face. This is a phone number that you can call 988 or text. And what this does, you know what? I need to, where is it? Where are you? What this does, I'm going to put this out there. Okay. So what this does is, um, okay. So now we're going to make this a little bit smaller so we can get it all up here. We're going to get it all up here. What this does is let you go with suicide prevention, and this will keep it up on my screen no matter what. Should I put it above my head? If you have suicidal thoughts and or depressed, anxious, or have serious high anxiety, things of that nature, you can text or call 988 for suicide prevention to have someone talk to you on a regular basis. Now, I promote this because being in the military, we have, X amount of military members who perish due to suicide on a regular basis. And that's not cool. And it could have just been one person that could have talked to them and been like, hey, I really needed to hear that or needed you to listen or whatever. And you could have been that person for them. And at this point in time, you can also hit up my DMs and I am more than happy to talk to you. Because I know what it's like to have been there. And right when my son died in 2009 at the age of 17, you know, I did think about just ending it all. And, you know, and I had those thoughts for a while, even after I said I was okay. And it was, just heart wrenching. You're not supposed to bury your child, the child is supposed to bury you. And so on that end, I needed people to talk to. And I found them. I found the people that I needed to talk to. And they helped me out, because it came to the point of, you still have family left that still cares about you, that still wants you here at the time. And so, I got rid of those thoughts. I wouldn't say pretty quick because it took me a good 2, almost 3 months to not, as Riggs would say, put a bullet in my mouth, put the gun in my mouth, you know, when I wake up every day, all those things. And yeah, it could have been easy. It would have been easy to just check out. But the harder thing is facing the problem. And the problem was my son wasn't ever going to be here again, you know. So that number will always be here. Uh, Text or call 988 suicide prevention to help out. This is just awareness because there's so many people out there that have depression and anxiety and things of that nature that they need some help with. Um, and we see it every day. You see high anxiety, you see major depression, those type things. And if you can be that listening ear or that friend for them, that would be pretty awesome and pretty cool. But I'm here for that. If you need to talk, if you need to chit chat, whatever, and if I know you 100%, I'll give you my phone number, and we'll chit chat on the phone. But without further ado, and to get off of that topic, we will now get to Tomorrow Girl number 12 meets Megaton Man. There are two covers to this book, so it is pretty cool. So you got this one by Ben Dunn right here. This is Megaton Man over here. Tomorrow Girl's over here, obviously. So, as the story opens up, you get to book two, the cover two. This one's done by Don Simpson. classic Don Simpson autograph right there. Pretty cool dude. I mean, I interviewed him back in the day as well. So there's 2 covers to this book. Now, as you get into it, you get to the profile page of Tomorrow Girl, number 12, volume 1, May 2025. Who is Megaton Man? Megaton Man is Trent Flug. He lives in Megatropolis, a futuristic city in Michigan, the United States, of course, and makes his living as a superhero Megaton Man, otherwise known as the Man of Magic Word Overkill. He explodes. So, he has some allies, X-Ray Boy, Yarn Man, who both assist Megaton Man in the battles against the archfoes, Bad Guy and Bulky Guy. But he is also a superhero, Superman-esque. He has a alter ego like Clark Kent, and he also works for a newspaper as well as a reporter. So there you go. He is also married. He has an Earth mother like Superman, but I'm not saying he is Superman because he's completely different. I mean, he does have the red cape and things like that, but he is his own character. He is not. Excuse me. He is not a takeoff like another one I'll show you here in just a moment. All right, so whenever we first start this, you see Tomorrow Girl flying because she got a threat at a warehouse, and she's going to go check it out just to make sure that nobody gets hurt with her superpowers and all that good stuff. So she crashes through the roof of this warehouse, and she finds Megaton Man chained to a wall. Bum, bum, bum. Holy cow, she says. Well, she's trying to figure out how he got there. He's recalling the story of what he remembers. And his boss gave him an assignment to interview Miss Swift. Take on Swifty, who we're talking about. So he gets there with an almost scantily clad woman. And she's known as Connor. Typical open shirt look down here. Again, this is all Ben Dunn's artwork right here. And so the story moves forward. She hypnotizes him with this guitar that she's playing. And from there, we see him do some things that he's not normally typically known for doing. And then at that point, it moves forward. And I'm not giving you everything in there just because I want you to get the book itself. You can either download it in PDF form, or you can go to the comic book store and get it or request it. Again, Tomorrow Girl number 12. Sorry about that, folks. So, then they go and confront this woman who is now known as Not Soul, who is a Dazzler-esque looking character now. The Connor chick that we saw there at the beginning now looks more like Dazzler here. Not really, but the typical costume that Dazzler would have probably worn had she had one like it. You see a little bit of the blocked nudity, think Austin Powers, where you can still see the naked body, but you're not seeing any naked bits, because they are covered. But here you go. It shows a little bit of, how she got this guitar and what happens as she moves along with Elvis. How Elvis used to capture his audience through his guitar. And now she's talking about enslaving the world to her, and Tomorrow Girl's like, "You're crazy. You're crazy, mother." And so then pretty soon she starts playing this guitar, and it hypnotizes him again to make him dance. He wants to dance now. "Let's get this party started," he says. Woo! Basically doing the, wrestler move right there. So he starts dancing, and when he's dancing, he's knocking into Tomorrow Girl, which is knocking her all over the place. And so she's getting upset. She's getting mad. And now she wants to let's dance right here. Again, a lot of action per page. And that's what Ben Dunn likes to do. He likes to put a lot of action into his pages because he wants there to be action to keep you reading each page thereafter. Um, and he has even admitted as such. How do you keep readers engaged? He says, put action on every page. Paraphrasing what he's actually said. But that's pretty much the gist of what he has said before on his own page. And so here you go. They're in a now knockdown, drag out fight between each other because of the hypnotic of not so right there. They're knockdown, drag out fighting. And she's kicking his arse right there, kicking his ass. And then he gets the better of her. He starts doing the megaton Tusi, which, if you remember the 1960s Batman, where he did the Bat Tusi dance, whenever he was technically in a hypnotic state as well, um, doing his little bat dance with the little doing that type of thing right there. Mr. Adam West as Batman there, but he's doing the megaton Tusi right here, and then they get into this dancing tango type of a thing, and then he spins her like a top, and she does the whole Burt Ward line here, which is holy mashed potatoes, as she has spun around like a top. He spun her so fast and so hard that she spun like a top. Now, there's only 16 pages to the Tomorrow Girl Meets Megaton Man, so I'm not reading them all to you, but I am giving you a little synopsis. But now she's kind of hypnotized herself. Um, and she's wanting, and Not So is wanting her to be more aggressive towards Megaton Man. And so now they bust heads, create this atomic blast from their punch right here in the middle, and right there. And then the guitar gets taken away from Not So and broken by Tomorrow Girl after she catches it. Because with that big explosion, it caused her to lose the guitar, and Tomorrow Girl caught it and smashes it. Well, when she smashes it, she releases the demon inside, Gorgonzo, who looks a little like the devil right there. And, now all hell breaks loose yet again. So again, action after action after action. It's good artwork. I mean, I love Ben Dunn's artwork. And now Megaton Man is going after what did I say his name was? Kranos, Gorgonzo, right there. And he's punching him to no avail. He flicks him away with one flick of the wrist, and he goes flying. And they team up on it, and they mock the demon right there. And basically, Megaton Man takes off his cape, starts doing it like a matador, and saying "Ole, ole!" And so he says, "You mocked me!" And he runs at it, hits his head on an anvil that's hidden behind, kind of something you would see in Wile E. Coyote, right there, or a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and knocks him out cold. He disappears into the nether region. Holy hot stuff, he's gone. So a little bit of this is, Batman-esque with the Burt Ward one-liners and things of that nature. Well, after all of that is ensued, the Gorgonzo has disappeared. Um, Not So, or Connor. I said, yeah, Connor. She gets back to normal. She's got a massive headache right here. You see all three of them together, and then they take off, knowing that she's okay and can get back to her normal life. They fly off and go their separate ways. And that is the living end of that storyline. So a lot of the stories are going to be, if I'm guessing, are one-off stories. throughout the Tomorrow Girl universe instead of a continuation story. Now, there could be some continuations in there, I'm sure, later on. Now, this is a 35-page comic book, so that means there's probably more than just 35 pages. That probably means there's some ad pages, there's probably some pinups pages, there's probably some other stuff in this book to make it probably closer to a 40-page book. Um, because you don't end a comic book on a negative note, on a negative number. So you don't have a 35-page comic. So there's probably a 40-page comic to a 42 to 48 pages, depending on what else is in the book. All I'm getting from the PDF is the covers and sometimes the pinup page, like I did the, the very first time we did Tomorrow Girl number 11. And so this one, we go into book 2 or comic 2 inside of this Tomorrow Girl number 11. Or correction, Tomorrow Girl number 12. So, the next book, which I technically really didn't like myself, but that's just me. The artwork and stuff like that was done really well over here on Tomorrow Girl number 12. I don't have all of 16 pages in here, but the stuff that I liked is that the gradients and things like that in and of itself blend in really well with each other. This one has very slight um, highlight areas, but you can tell the differentials, and it's a lot smoother than in book 11. Book 11 was really harsh for me because it looked like you could just see the layers that they just laid down, going into their gradient steps to go from the light to the dark. Well, here it's a lot more subtle. You can still see where the dark is, but you can still see where the light section is as well. Now, um, which it's very hard to tell. I mean, his chin you can tell a little bit more of right there than you can even on Tomorrow Girl, because Tomorrow Girl is practically almost pure, no shadowing on her face whatsoever. Now, with the Don Simpson cover, I'm guessing that I'm assuming he's got his own colorist for it, but you can tell the lights to darks, and you can see them, here portrayed. Um, Boom, light to dark as it goes down the body right there. So you can see the differentiation in there with all the light colors, the dark colors, and all that good stuff. Now, in the like I said in book 11, it wasn't that clean. It was real harsh from jump to jump on that end. Now, book 2 inside is the Scarlet Phantom. I was calling it the Red Phantom, so I apologize on the TikTok side, but it is the Scarlet Phantom, and the story is by Paul Beal. The art, colors, and letters are by Sebastian Roy, and it's rudimentary in my opinion. The hands, the some of the faces, stuff like that. It's all rudimentary, easily drawn, stuff like that. And what I mean by that is if you look at the fingers, it's very. Let me get to the fingers if I can get there. Right there. You can see how the fingers are drawn and things like that. Hands are hard to draw. Some faces are hard to draw. But kudos to these guys because they do have their book inside of an Antarctic Press title. Um, this isn't something that I would typically buy myself. This book right here, uh, the the Scarlet Phantom, it's just not. It's just not something that I would buy because I don't like it personally. But it basically starts out with a bank robbery in progress. The Stanley looking guard is going to try and foil their plans by reaching for his gun, but they get the drop on him, and they're like, "No, you don't, Gramps. No, you don't. No, you don't." So then we go on through more of the horrific hands, if you will. Just look at that hand. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to these guys, but I mean, yeah, it's great that they're in there, but the hands could have been done better. And then, wrist breaks and things like. I mean, look at this break right here. I mean, look at this hand down here. Right here. It's an impossible an impossible movement of the hand to go that direction. Yeah, it's easily drawn, but your arm doesn't really do that. So um, so they're in the process of trying to get all the money. They're trying to get the bags filled up. He's throwing a bag at a woman, at a cashier, and pretty soon he hears a voice behind him say, "Excuse me," and he's like, "What? Who tapped me on the shoulder?" And then he gets clocked, knocked out. And then this other thug, he gets his gun taken away from him, and then you see the semi-translucent figure of the Scarlet Spider. See where I'm going? The Scarlet Phantom destroying the gun, and then throwing this other crook into the third crook, and then you get to see the whole outfit here. Okay, this is where I have an issue. You see the arrow pointing down. You see the yellows and the gold and the yellows and the red outfit right here, right? Well, immediately when I saw this, I went with DC's dun 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 red tornado. Tell me what you see here. Tell me what you see here. Almost word for word, verbatim, character likeness of the red tornado. Um, DC property been around for a long time. It is an android, like Vision, and I'm pretty sure that's somebody played off of that. Either Marvel played off of the Red Tornado or DC played off of Vision. I don't know which came first because I didn't look that up. I just know that this guy's been around for a long time, and unfortunately, they stole his costume from him. And I'll show you a better picture here in a second. He foils their plans. He hears the cops coming, and this will give you a better look at this right here. Dun dun dun. You see that arrow on the head? You see the yellows and the reds right there? Yeah, he doesn't have the T on his chest. He's got a big star on his chest. But that's where I have an issue with these guys' work, is that they took the Red Tornado 100% for their Scarlet Phantom and just changed a couple of elements here and there. Um, but it's still the same outfit. I mean, for the most part. So this guy hears the cops coming, so he jets out of there. He disappears into this rotation device right there, and then he's running. He's turned invisible, is what he did, and now he's running through the crowd, and he knocks into some people, and then he's going for his alter ego, his real job, is what he says. He says, "Ace reporter Jack Winstead has work to do." So he's changing. I thought he was a uh, news anchor, but he's actually just a reporter and who works for the Evening Globe. It says a different thing over here. The Evening Times, Chicago's. So see, they contradict themselves in this because he says he works for the Evening Globe, but then it's the Evening Times. So is it the Evening Globe or the Evening Times? But the chief calls him over, and then he starts going, "You're not going to be writing about this guy again," because he hears about invisibility and all that good stuff, and he says, "What about the invisible element to it all?" And he's like, "You're not going to be writing about this guy again, right?" Well, of course he's going to be writing about this guy again. And then he's got a coworker, Megan, right here, who's watching him write a story about the Scarlet Phantom. And she's almost picking his nose in this last one. I know she's just pointing at him, but kind of looks like she's about to pick his nose for him. Well, they get into a discussion about the whole thing and about the army of bank robbers on his payroll, yada yada yada. Not Jack's payroll, but um, high profile people on the bankroll. So Megan's clocking out for the day later that night. She's looking for her keys in her purse, and then she gets held up by a bad guy with a gun. Got a big old scar down his face. Well, Jack sees what's going down because he's hiding in the wings over here. So he sees what's going down and follows her discreetly, is my guess, because they don't tell us that, but they don't show any more of Jack in any of those scenes. Well, she's getting interrogated, trying to get um, she's in a dockside warehouse right here, and they've got some Bobby beer back in the background. That's what's in the warehouse, and she's getting interrogated by the guy that kidnapped her. Right off the bat, she's tied to a chair. She's got her arms tied behind her, and then you see the Kingpin-esque type of character show up right here and talking to her about, pretty much anybody's in his pocket that's of high profile, that's of importance, right there. Well, pretty soon, they're about to kill her, and you hear "I am," and then the dude with the scar gets cracked across the face, teeth go flying, and then this other guy that's looked like a FBI agent, if you will, in his suit, pulls out a gun and starts shooting wildly. Well, he taps him on the shoulder too, and then he clocks him as well. And this is the first time he's like, "Ow, that hurts," kind of a little wimpily like. But anyway, um, next thing you know, he releases her because she's like, "Hey, a little help here," and she goes, "So you're the Scarlet Spider or Scarlet Phantom, basically, and the guy that Jack's been writing about." And then she's basically holding her head, saying, "I'm gonna have to admit that Jack was right, and that this day sucks." With the Scarlet Phantom with a huge smile on his face because he's Jack as well. And this is the beginning of their series, I guess, as it says right here, the beginning instead of the end. This one I did not like just because of the fact that their costume was way too close to the Red Tornado. Okay? If you're going to create a character and you want to use elements of another character out there, by all means, do it. But change things. Yes, they changed it more than 10%. Yes, they did this. Yes, they did that. But why does your character, the Scarlet Phantom, need to have the yellow arrows coming down the head like the Red Tornado? I mean, insert brain here. I don't know. That, and this is just my take, people. This is just my look at this and being raw with it. Um, if you are going to create a character, say a Batman-like character, then please change things dramatically. Don't use the arrows. Don't use different things like that. Um, Come up with something of your own. The Scarlet Phantom. Phantom. Think Phantom. Think a skull. You know. I mean, yeah, it's been done with the Phantom, but pick a skull for the placement up here instead of the arrow, and then it might be better received, especially from old comic book guys like myself, who grew up with the Red Tornado or Vision or characters like that, and that's where I just have a hard time, you know, not believing that the Red Tornado was the inspiration for their outfit. But that's just me. I could be totally wrong. Now, the third book inside of this 35-page PDF that I received from Mr. Ben Dunn for the Antarctic Press uh, preview, because again, I believe Comic Book Day is Wednesday for most people. And this is their 40th anniversary, 1985 to 2025. And they're doing a big birthday bash, which I wish I could go to, but it's a little bit far out of the way for me to get there. And on that end, because they're giving away free comic books. And I'd love to have one of the T-shirts that he has, but again, I didn't order one of those, and it was a first come first serve on that, so he might not even have any left by the time I can get around to ordering. But the third book, the third installment, which is the fun read, goes back to the tractor lad who we left off in part one, after having beaten the saboteur, who was trying to destroy the farm equipment, and then dropped his map and all that good stuff. Well, we see, I really saved your bacon. Get it? Eggs and bacon? Haha. And you sure did. So, who are you? I'm Tractor Lad. And then Cooper, Mary, Amelia, come quick. Uh-oh. Dad's gonna figure out who I am if I don't show up. So he goes off, and Tractor Lad takes off, and everybody shows up except for him. He's like, hey, where did he go? So they're looking for Tractor Lad, which is right here. Well, he goes around the corner, and once he goes around the corner, he transforms back into the kid, and right there, he transforms back into himself. And this is a good read for children because it turns the child into the hero. And a lot of kids want to be the hero, especially for their parents. They want to see themselves be a hero in their parents' eyes in some form, fashion, or another. Well, the police show up. They start looking over the equipment and stuff like that in the barn, and find out that it's been tampered with. It's been saboteured right there. And then Grandpa's out there trying to help fix the combine, and it's not starting. Um, and they're trying everything they can do to get it fixed, but they can't get it fixed yet. Dad's still mad and upset, um, because they've still got to finish cutting the wheat, and it's not happening right now because the combine has been saboteured. Well, later that night, after bedtime, you see the boy, um, Cooper, and he's looking at the map that was dropped by the saboteur in the first part. And he sees the big X from the barn and everything else, and he's like, so now he's going to go spring a trap on the saboteur. So he's reading the map. He can't make heads or tails of it. He's flipping it around all over the place. And then he's going to go set a trap for the saboteur. Well, sure enough, his instincts were right. And he does happen to run into the saboteur again out in the barn. And you see him rummaging around. And he's like, got to be around here somewhere, you know. And you looking for this? And then he's flaunting the map back and forth. And the saboteur is like, give me that, you little brat. As he turns his head towards him. And he says, you have to catch me first. As he's running towards the wheat field. And he's like, get back here. So they're chasing suits. Chasing suits right there. Now, as he's running through the wheat field, um, which really should have been taller than the kid, and not as tall as the villain. And in some aspects it is. You see an aspect where the wheat is taller than the kid, whereas it wasn't just a second ago. And they're running through the wheat field, and pretty soon, boom, he hits a rock. Goes down, hurts his knee. His little magic key from the meteorite that he found earlier that transformed into a key is not here. And it says to be continued. So there's more parts to this coming up. I don't know how many more parts there's going to be of Tractor Lad, but it is an ongoing series, it looks like. And that is one of the better reads that they have. I mean, Tomorrow Girl in and of itself is great, but for this newer piece right here to come in, and it is Dan Collins, who is the creator. From Small Seeds Grow Big Heroes. And he's doing a great job with this. The panels are easy, they're fun, they're short enough. Now, some people will put a lot of panels in the page, such as they'll put like 10 to 12 panels on a page, and it starts to get convoluted and things of that nature. And I'm even rethinking some of the pages of my own comic book. But Dan here does it right. He keeps it simple. Um, Even the hands and fingers and stuff like that look good in this one. Um, but all these books can be read by children or read to a child because there's not any vulgarity in there. There's little quips of things that could be picked up as you know um, inappropriate, if you will. But for the most part, all of these, especially Tractor Lad and Tomorrow Girl, are all relatively safe for kids, always a plus on that end because you want young readers when it comes to comic books, and there are some comic books out there that definitely are not made for children. Period. Uh, because you have your erotic comic books, you have your rated R comic books. I mean, now there are some parents out there that don't shield their kids from this, and that's a good thing in my opinion because if you shelter your kid too much, it's just going to get um, them hurt later on. Not like physically hurt, but it could physically get them hurt. But it just emotionally damaged. Emotional damage. Those type things. And so those of you parents that don't shelter your children, kudos to you. Letting them watch horror movies and things of that nature. Um, just because it will grow up a better human being to know the right from wrong, morality, and things of that nature. So, um, but that is that, and that is our wrap up of Tomorrow Girl number 12 for the an incentive program. Because what this does, it draws viewership from Ben Dunn's page and Antarctic Press page to my channels, my YouTube channel, my Facebook channel, those type things. I do give him my YouTube link whenever I get this posted, and we go from there. Um, Now on the TikTok side, whenever the was going on, someone asked a question of, who do I like better, basically Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler, and I said Jim Carrey would be my go-to just because I grew up on him within Living Color, some Saturday Night Live stuff, and things like that. And he plays a larger, diverse character role than Adam Sandler does. Incorrect. I just contradicted myself. He plays a lot of the same type of roles, whereas Adam Sandler has a wider range of roles that he plays, from the quirky to the more serious, from Little Nicky to Happy Gilmore to 50 First Dates. You know, all of his stuff is very different. Now he does play a couple of same character roles in there, whereas Jim Carrey will play like an Irene and Cable Guy. We're almost the same character, um, and then you've got Liar Liar, and then you've got of course any other thing that he Ace Ventura, completely different off the wall characters. So on that end, my pick was Jim Carrey, even though I like Adam Sandler's stuff. Um, it's just I grew up on Jim Carrey more than I did Adam Sandler. So that's why I picked Jim Carrey over Adam Sandler, because I grew up with him. Not like as in the same location, but just watching him on TV and things of that nature. So there you have it. And that wraps up our talk on this. We will be talking more comic book stuff and movies and all that good stuff later on. I'm got 3 commissions that I'm working on right now. Ken Kang is one of the commissions that I'm working on. And then I'm working on a secret project. Not really a secret because it is a comic book cover for a company out there. He just wants me to keep it a little bit more secretive on what I'm doing, because he wants to break it. He's already talking about a variant cover for one of his books out there. And then I've got another one in the works for a um, a live show uh, logo, if you will, for another friend of mine who's commissioning me to do a gamer logo. That's what I was trying to get at, a gamer logo. And then I will have another commission turning a young lady into a superhero um, once that one comes to play. So we will go from there on that one. And that one I will be able to show. Jake's I'll be able to show. And then the other two I won't be able to show. So there's two out of the four that I'll be able to show, as well as I'm hoping to start getting work on my own covers for my comic book, which I have not revealed the title or what it is truly about, other than cryptids and gothic lore, Norse lore, fairy tale stuff, fairies, goblins, things of that nature, and mermaids, and that people are eating right now, and catching and eating, and then the little gnome things that are being captured. If you're watching anything on TikTok, you see all this strange stuff happening right now. People are waiting for unicorns to show up, and so we'll go from there. Now, one that had me dying laughing, and she was deadpan serious, was on TikTok, and this woman was talking about the little chicken wings that you get. You know, where do those come from? What kind of a chicken does that come from? She goes, it doesn't come from chickens. It comes from fairy wings. And I just stopped. I busted out laughing so hard. I just couldn't control myself. That these little chicken wings that you get are fairy wings. They break off one wing, and then they cook it up, or they do what they need to do to it, and then the wing will grow back. So they have an endless supply of wings. Now, if you took both wings, that's it. It's done. The fairy dies, and just the way she was doing it with a straight face, I was dying laughing. I couldn't help it, and it was the funniest thing to me. And on that day, eh, and it was just like I was rolling. I was hurt. I was crying from laughing so much. And I know she was being deadpan serious, that she believes that those little chicken wings come from fairy wings. And yeah, so there you have it. But this little incentive program that we're doing with the Antarctic Press, we will be doing it every day after Friday. So if my like next time, the next drop will be on the 21st. So I probably might even do it on that day, depending on when I get the email. Because generally I don't get the email until Friday, the day of. So then it would mean Sunday would be the next day that I would preview that. And then on the 28th, I would get it on that Friday, the 28th, and would be able to review it on the 29th, the very next day, just because I would have it all information in hand. Now, it's always cool whenever they drop more than one book in your lap at the same time, and then you can do that. But and it's fun too whenever you have multiple books in one book, like this one. So where you have Tomorrow Girl, the Scarlet Phantom, and Tractor Lad all in one book. So that's always fun, exciting, and relevant. So I look forward to, like I was talking about on TikTok, since my sound completely died up here at 8 minutes mark in. I was talking about all kinds of different things from, um, this being an exciting new year of revamping and rebuilding and working on my own comic book, and just having fun with life again. Not that I wasn't having fun before, but this gives me a break from the comic book conventions of having to spend money. That's why I need sponsors from people like you to help me pay for my booth out there. So if anybody wants to be a sponsor and help pay for my booth, you will get information put on the table. You will be included on my website as a sponsor. You will be included in my comic book as a sponsor. If you want to help facilitate that, but I will do that through Kickstarter or one of the crowdfunding um, pieces like that, like a lot of people are doing, and hopefully we can, make the money that it requires to uh, bring the book to life, because I'm hopefully going to have all the books finished before I do the Kickstarter. Um, and that means that the Kickstarter will basically help pay for the printing of the books and any shipping costs that incur, with a little bit of money for myself, in there as well, because me, as being the creator, the sole proprietor of it all, would like to make a little money off of this myself. So, but I'm not going to charge astronomical amounts like I see other people do whenever you have multiple covers, and they charge you upwards of $100 just to get all the covers, out there. Whenever, each book can potentially cost $5 a piece. So if you think 5 times 4, that's how much? That's $20. So where does that other $70 come from? And things like that. So, but I get it. You got to charge to make money for yourself and to cover any hidden expenses that might happen later. Plus, you got to charge enough to counteract the percent that Kickstarter takes from you whenever you fund your project. So I get all that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting started on my own project. I mean, I've already started, but I've kind of stopped on it a little bit, just like the backyard project of clearing out that back sector until the 24th, when my dumpster drops and I am able to hopefully get the front end loader or tractor to help get that crap out of there from back there and dump it directly into the dumpster. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're hoping for. And that's what we're shooting for. All that good stuff right there. But I do appreciate each and everybody being here with us, checking out the channel, checking out the recording, even though it isn't live. It was for a hot minute out there, and then all of a sudden the sound was gone. Right at the 8 minute mark, it was like 7 minutes and 52 or 53 seconds. Boom, sound disappeared for whatever reason. Don't know why it did that on me, but I apologize. I mean, I apologize to myself because I'm the one that had to re-record an entire show, and try to make it similar to the first one, which I know it was not anywhere close to the first one, because the first one kind of flowed a little bit better than what you saw right here, right now. But again, this draws people to me from Ben Dunn's page and from Antarctic Press itself, and then it also, helps um, them as well in promoting their new works coming out. And they're also going to try and do some classics as well. So not just the new stuff that's coming out, but some of the stuff they do have on their shelves, and in print form waiting for you to purchase. So we'll look forward to all this that is happening. It is driving up my YouTube channel. I can say that 100%. And I love it because it's, helps uh, promote my YouTube channel and get more subscribers. So if you are watching this to the end and to the finish, please go to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe to it, as well as all my other ones as well, because any of my platforms has a link to my website out there that has all my socials on it underneath the 412 over here, the 412 logo right here, the Art of Monty Anderson logo, alien logo. And then directly under that, you see my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube, and then my TikTok channel right there. So you can subscribe, follow, like all of those. If you would, that would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, since I've already done this show twice now, I will leave you with it. I do appreciate again each and everybody being here, and I appreciate you guys liking and sharing my content, just to help keep people informed of different things, including the 988 up there. But with that being said, as I like to say, as I leave you to go about your day in peace and harmony, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.